Hello. Now we are on to lesson 7 in Unit 6, which is functions. So we are looking at input validation. We already did some amount of data validation before. Now we are going to try and do input validation, which is very similar to data validation. This is to check and see if if the user is entering a reasonable input, right? So you ask them to enter an age. What if they enter 200 or 300? Doesn't make any sense. So you're trying to see if the data that they enter is valid, is it reasonable, right? So here, let's take a look at this code. And we can combine this with our other program that we had here. Here, let's take a look at our data validation that we had before. I believe it's this one, where we have the try except to check and see if it was an integer or not. Okay, so this one says enter an integer, and we checked, remember, to see if it was a valid integer or not. Let's change this a little bit to reflect something like this. What we're doing here is we're getting an age using the function. So we come to the function, we set age equals true. While true is just a Boolean. So that means at some point in time, we have a break statement that gets us out of there. Okay, so let me actually copy this, and we will put it in here and use this along with the try except. So let me just put this here and we'll keep it. We'll use that code. So what we are doing here is we are reading an age, and let's call this age equals, and we'll call our function get age so we can make it all appropriate, and call this get age. And we don't need this. We know how to do that now. So all we do is say your age is, that will output age. Okay, so we've changed all our variable names to call age. We call our function get age. And we don't need to have this variable. We can simply use a while true loop, which will still do what we want it to do. So the get age function, its job is to read an age. So let's say prompt for an age, change our comments appropriately and store it in age. So let's say age equals 0. Okay, then we are going to tell the user age equals input, enter your age, and we are not going to convert it, notice. Okay, then we are going to use this while true loop. Take this while true loop from down here and put it here. So while true, what do we want to do? We want to be able to go in and check if it is numeric first. You can do both of them in the same loop. So check if it is numeric. And what are we going to do there? We are going to do exactly this, where we are going to take, we already asked the user to enter the age. So now we are going to try and convert it into an integer. So all we have to do here is say age equals int. We're going to try and convert it to an int. Okay. So we have read the age here as a string. Remember, we didn't convert it here. Notice I didn't put an int around it. I just read it as a string. We go in here to try and convert it to an int and put it back in the same variable. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of this. I don't have the valid variable anymore. I don't need it. If it works, then it will never get here. If it fails, then it is going to come here, and I wanted to print a message that says, if I could get the indentations right, like that. I want to print a message that says invalid, please try again. And I'm going to copy this input statement, which tries to read the age, and I'm going to put that there. So what we're doing is, if it fails, then it's going to come here, and we are going to print an error message and tell them to enter the age again. Now, what you could also do with this is you can have an else with the while. And that else is where you would check if everything is reasonable, which means right here, within that else, I'm going to check. Okay, we'll step through this in a minute again. So I'm going to get rid of this at the bottom. We don't need that anymore. That was just my placeholder code. And this becomes age. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So we read age from the user on line 11. We don't convert it into an int, we just read it. While true, we check age equals int age. We try to convert it. If it fails, it's going to go in here. It's going to say invalid, meaning if I enter a character or something like that, it is going to say invalid, please try again. It tries to read the age. So if it comes into the except, it's never coming to the else. It is going right back to the while. Okay, that's just how the syntax works. It tries, it either goes into except or it goes into else. If it goes into the except, it's going right back to the while. So then it checks again. It tries to convert it. So let's say the user enters a good age, meaning a good number, then it's going to come to the else and it's going to check. If age is between 0 and 120, meaning if it is not between 0 and 120, if it is outside of that range, it's going to say print invalid, only ages 0 to 120 allowed, and it is not going to come to the else, it is going to go back to the while again. Okay, it's still in the while. Until it gets to this point, it's still inside the while. Now, if they enter a good age, then it's going to come to the else and it's going to break out of there. Break means it's going to break out of this while loop, which means it's going to be here, which means I don't need this code, which is extra code. So when we say return age, it's going to go back to where did all this come from on this line. It's going to take that age that got returned and it's going to put it into this age and it's going to print it. So let's see if it actually works because we fixed up a few things. So if I enter some character, it should say invalid, please try again. You can do that as long as you want. Okay, all right, let's enter an age 23. And it says, oh, your age is 23. Let's run it again. How about if you put it in age like 200? Oh, that's sad. So we get an infinite loop. I wonder why we got an infinite loop. Let's see. Somewhere along the line, I have forgotten to read the age again, which is why we usually get invalid. How about right here? After that, should I not read my input again? Let's try that. Okay, let's try. Okay, if I enter 300, better. So I enter 12. So there, that's a little bug, and that was a real-time bug to show you what happens when we forget to do something. So what did that do? Let's see. Okay, just checking to see if it's working. So what happened there was when age was not within the range, we printed an error message, but we never read the age again from the user. So if I didn't have that, here, let's take that out again just to see what it does. If I didn't have that, okay, and I run it, and I put in an age of 300, it comes here because it's a good number. It's not going to fail here. It's not going to come into the except, but it's going to come here. And it says, is it between 0 and 120? No, it's 300. It's 300. So age is 300. It says print invalid. Goes right back to the while. Comes here and tries to take that age, which is 300. Converts it again. Jumps over here. Does the same thing. Nowhere does age get updated. I'm not reading the input again. So that's a problem. So at the minute it's an invalid age, we must read that so I can update the age so they can enter a new age. Just outputting a print statement, again, didn't do anything for me, right? So I must rerun it. Try it again. There we go. Okay, so the code needed to be saved and updated after I put the age statement, which was not done before. So you see what happens when, so there are several different things that, could go wrong when you write programs. So it's always good to kind of step through your code and see what is happening where. So try it.